Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. We're off tomorrow for the 4th of July. Tony, how are you going to spend the holiday weekend?
Tony Kornheiser golfing, napping, confiscating pickleballs. Not a fan of pickleball. Not me.
No,
not a big fan.
But you know what, though, Tony?
Welcome to pickleball. Go ahead.
Who has more Achilles injuries? The NBA in the spring or pickleball every week?
If you look at a pickleball court, somebody over the age of 60 is going down in a heap once an hour. Welcome to PTI, yes. Boys and girls. Today's episode, Clayton Kershaw's historic strikeout, USA's win over Guatemala, and Patrick McEnroe joins us from Wimbledon for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with the Los Angeles Lakers finally getting a big man. They signed former overall #1 pick 7-foot Deandre Ayton to a 2-year contract. Ayton had just been released by Portland, where he had played the last 2 seasons. He averaged 14 points and 10 rebounds for the Trail Blazers this past season, playing just 40 games. Wilbon, what does this do for the Lakers, and how does it affect how you see the West?
It improves the Lakers, and it probably does more specifically for Luka Doncic than LeBron. I mean, Doncic, is vocal and has been in management situations where he played in Dallas and now the Lakers about the kind of player, Ayton, who he really can tag team with and take advantage of, a lob threat at the rim. We hear that. Ayton's defense is spotty. He can be a rim defender. He can be a lot of things, but he can also just take nights off. We saw that even when Chris Paul had to go to the, I'm going to use this jockey phrase, to the whip hand and really press him to get them to the finals in 2021 when the Suns got there, and that was the best of Ayton. But you had Chris Paul really riding him to get there. I don't know. Is Luka that guy? Can Luka do that? LeBron can do that. But who's going to get that out of Ayton? Are they now even with Oklahoma City and Houston? And no, they're not. Not even Minnesota to me. Not even Dallas to me. No, they're not. But this is a step in the right direction for the Lakers, and that's where it starts. Just a step. They got more to go.
I'm going to go in a different direction and tell you that the most important thing this does, in my mind, is guarantee that LeBron will be there all year. LeBron James now finally has a big man who will play like a big man, not drift out there and take threes. That's what they were lacking last year. Luka Doncic was their #1 rebounder. That's not going to happen now. I mean, I understand DeAndre Ayton hasn't been what people thought he was going to be, but he has also averaged 16 and 10 throughout his career. And he's going to be a presence for this particular team. And so the threatening comments that were made by LeBron James and Rich Paul 7 to 10 days ago about you better work on what's happening with the Lakers, the implied threat was that LeBron would want to leave. Well, they worked on it. They gave him a credible big man. Not an incredible big man, but a credible big man. They can reset. And, Mike, I think it could be a big deal. And I think they could become true contenders in the West. True contenders,
Tony,
I believe
they not, but this is not the finishing touch. By the way,
nope.
Some credit to Rob Pelinka, who every year there's sort of, they got to do this, they got to do that. And he's done this multiple times, got into a conference championship round anyway, 2 seasons ago, 2 postseasons ago, and he got him Luka just falling out of the heavens, and now DeAndre Ayton. These guys were the numbers 1 and 3 overall picks in their draft not too long ago. So this is a nice move. It's not the finishing move. Let's not get crazy. Let's move to baseball, where Clayton Kershaw did something last night only 19 pitchers had done before him. Kershaw struck out White Sox third baseman Vinny Capra for his 3,000th career K. There are fewer players who have reached 3,000 strikeouts and 3,000 hits, Tone. So how significant is this milestone in your mind?
Well, he is the 20th ever. He's only the 4th left-hander. Steve Carlton, Randy Johnson, CC Sabathia, they're all in the Hall of Fame. Kershaw is going to the Hall of Fame. So are the 2 active players who are on this list right now. Scherzer and Verlander, they're going to the Hall of Fame. I don't know all that much to make about it because a lot of these pitchers are what I would call modern pitchers, where the strikeout is now more important, more prevalent than it was, say, 40 or 50 years ago. I was surprised, Mike, speaking of lefties, Warren Spahn, not on this list. I'm not surprised by Koufax because he didn't pitch long enough. All of these 20 guys are either going to the Hall of Fame or are in the Hall of Fame, with two exceptions, Curt Schilling and Roger Clemens. And Clemens is out right now because of the PEDs. I noted that there are fewer guys to 3,000 strikeouts than 3,000 hits. Is that supposed to tell us it's harder to get the 3,000 strikeouts? And I wonder, Mike, is there going to be another one? Or is this it? Because they don't pitch a lot of innings anymore. Will Chris Sale get there? Will Garrett Cole get there? Will anybody ever get there? I don't know.
Yeah, Tony, it's interesting when you just go down the list, and I started it just before we went on the air. I wanted to know the top five, and Nolan Ryan, Randy Johnson, Clemens, Carlton, and Blyleven. Blyleven sort of surprises me there, but he pitched like 23, 24 years. But then, Tony, it's a nice note that you make about the sort of the modern nature of the list, although we're old enough now that you have to put Gibson and Jenkins, the two people that I grew up watching the most, like they're straddling that, right? They're not back with Walter Johnson, but it's been 60 years. I mean, it's been a long time for Gibson and Jenkins, and I'm glad they're on that list. So you look at the list, and it's quite representative to me. I found it fascinating to go through, and Kershaw, good for him. I just, I don't know what's more important, that or sort of, what are we going to remember, that or postseason success, postseason struggles, World Series rings? Like what, where do you fall down? Maybe all of it. Maybe it's a tapestry of all of it.
Good for him that he did it in L.A. with the only team he has ever played for. Only Gibson, and there's one other, Walter Johnson, went all the way down with one team. Players are heading into the third round at Wimbledon, which is where we find our long-lost friend who we love, ESPN tennis commentator Patrick McEnroe. Patrick, we're going to start with a comparative question. What is more impressive to you, the way Novak Djokovic is playing at 38 years old, or what Carlos Alcaraz is accomplishing at 22 years old?
Well, I would say it's the 38-year-old Novak Djokovic, guys, because the fact that he's still playing at this level, we've really never seen this before on a consistent basis in men's professional tennis. Carlos Alcaraz is phenomenal. He's won the last 2 Wimbledon titles. He won in Paris just a couple of weeks ago for the second time. He's the guy who's the favorite to win this title, no doubt about it. But we've seen greatness at that age before. But what Djokovic is continuing to do to play at this level in the majors is phenomenal. He played well in Paris, got to the semifinals there, getting dismantled by Sinner, who's the other favorite in the semifinals. But he feels very comfortable on the grass. In fact, he said in his press conference today after his straight set win that that's the best he's felt in a long time. And if he plays like that, he said that he thinks he can beat anyone in the tournament, but it's likely he would have to beat Sinner in the semifinals and then Alcaraz in the final. And trust me, he will have to play his A game to have a chance to beat both of them back-to-back.
Be something to see all those guys still left in the tournament the way it's going, Patrick. So many of the top seeds are out already. Are we just looking at sort of fluke circumstances, or do you see more a common thread here?
I think it's a little more fluky, Mike, than we've seen before. There are 19 seeds of the 32 out in the men's field. There's 17 out in the women's field already. The conditions the first couple of days, it was brutally hot here for the first 2 days, which is very unusual for London this time of year. That made the courts actually play a little bit differently, a little quicker, and I think that could have been part of it. But, there is a lot more parity in men's tennis, in women's tennis down the line, not at the top of men's tennis. Sinner and Alcaraz, between the two of them, have won the last 6 major titles. So we had the era of the big 3. Now we're pretty much in the era of the big 2. They've distanced themselves from the rest of the field. In the women's game, it's definitely more spread out. In fact, here at Wimbledon, there's been 8 different winners of the ladies' singles title in the last 8 years. And it's very possible, in fact, I'd say likely, that we'll see a 9th winner. At the moment, you'd have to say Aryna Sabalenka, the favorite, the top seed. You had Coco Gauff being upset in the opening round, which was a big shock. Jessica Pegula, the 3 seed, also being upset in the opening round. So not wide open, but I think there's more players in the ladies' tournament that can win it, whereas on the men's side, it's pretty much Alcaraz, Sinner, maybe Djokovic is the 3rd favorite at the moment.
Yeah. Happy trails to extra bases for Riley Green. The Tiger slugger hit one deep to left center last night. Nats center fielder Jacob Young tracked it, scaled the fence, and came away with an improbable catch. Young said he thought the ball was going to travel farther, but it died by the wall, so he ended up backhanding it at shoulder height. Here's a fun fact, Mike. Riley Green, and Jacob Young played travel ball together as teenagers in Florida.
I never get tired of seeing these at-the-wall or over-the-wall catches. All night long you can go with them, and they just all seem to be thrilling.
And every day somebody says the best catch of the year, and it's not. The next day is the best catch of the year as well.
Day.
Let's go to the big finish. Your guy, The Miz, gave up 5 earned and 3 2/3. He took the loss to the Mets last night. How'd that taste?
Tasted great. We got a half game on the Brewers who split. Come on now. Tasted great to have a cheesehead get rocked. Blue Jays beat the Yanks last night, have caught them atop the AL East. I bet you think that's significant.
Yeah, I think anytime you're in first place, even if you're tied, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's significant. Red Panda's out of the hospital after breaking her left wrist when she fell off her unicycle. Your thoughts?
Sally's going to miss a few months, apparently, but she's just a great athlete, one of the best in the arena any night she's there. James Wood of the Nats joined a home run derby, the home run derby. I bet you're excited.
I am, because he hits the ball harder than anybody in the National League other than Shohei Ohtani. You know, I'd love to see him in a home run derby. Last one, CFL tonight. Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the Calgary Stampeders. Are you smelling upset?
I don't really need to be predicting Canadian football, but I'm going to watch, Tony, when I'm not peeking at the Cubs Cleveland in the rubber match of that. Not the rubber, going for the sweep.
We watch everything. We're out of time. Try and do better the next time, and I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. We're off until Monday, knuckleheads. Enjoy the holiday weekend. And now, here's sports.